Joel 2 and verse 27.
Hold on. Now he said God is the God of all people. He didn't give us a scripture. I'm going to give you a scripture that contradicts that. Read that.
And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel.
Oh, hold on. I'm in the midst of what?
In the midst of Israel.
Read.
And that I am the Lord your God.
Hold on. I am what?
I am the Lord your God.
And what?
And none else.
Hold on. Everybody else.
And none else.
And nobody else.
And none else.
That's right. When was it open to everybody? When Jesus came? Acts 5:31.
Guys, because this is not considered Christ, but I'm telling you.
How do you
guys?
Why not?
Because in the Bible, so what are the fruit of the Spirit?
Let's get the fruit of the Spirit. 1 John 2 and 4. Let's get the fruit of the Spirit. Do you have the fruit of the Spirit? You do? Let's see if that's true in the Bible.
1 John.
Now, are you going to be able to humble down if you don't line up with the Spirit? Listen good.
1 John 2 and verse 4.
33.
Verse 3. And hereby we do know that we know him.
This is how we know God. Read.
If we keep his
If a
commandments.
man keeps the commandments, he knows God. Read.
He that saith, I know him,
He that saith, I know God, read,
and keepeth not his
but
commandments,
you don't keep the commandments,
is a liar.
is that what?
Is a liar.
Now, it's a commandment for you to wear fringes. Bring it out. Why don't you have on fringes right now?
Because see, as a Christian born again, I'm not under the law. Because if you're subject to part of the law, then you're subject to all the law. So if you are under the law, then why are you not sacrificing animals?
You should know that. Why don't we sacrifice?
I don't have to sacrifice.
Why not?
Grace.
Oh,
By faith,
you under grace?
Yeah, by faith, by grace.
So can you? You can commit adultery? Can you commit adultery?
I can't commit adultery.
Why not? You ain't under the law. You're not under the law.
You don't
commit.
You don't want to eat unclean
You telling all these people to commit adultery?
I never said that.
Yes, you did. You said we're not under the law. He didn't say commit adultery. He said to kill. He said to steal. That's what you said. Yeah. You said we're not under the law.
Yeah, we're not under the law.
So don't keep the law.
Grace.
Huh? So do we keep the law?
Why are you not slaughtering
So do we keep the law?
No, you don't have to
Do
keep
we
the
keep
law.
the?
You don't have to keep
You
the
see
law.
how dumb you sound?
No.
Romans 3:31.
Why are you not slaughtering animals?
Hebrews 10 and 1.
Why are you not slaughtering
Because
animals?
Christ was the ultimate
How
sacrifice.
can you accept them? He said if Christ can't, come on, pull up.
Hebrews 10 and 1. Come on. You don't
Because Christ
understand the
died.
Bible.
If Christ died,
Right.
to remain under the law, then Christ
Hebrews
died
10
for
and 1.
nothing, right?
Hebrews 10 and verse 1. For the law having shadow of good things.
Listen to read it again.
For the law.
What's the law is talking about right here? What law is this talking
I
about?
need to pull up a scripture.
What law is this talking about? You see that? You're not coming to learn. Read.
For the law having a shadow of things.
The law is talking about the law of sacrifice. The law of sacrifice was the shadow before the actual thing showed up, which was Christ. Read.
And not the very image
And not the very image. Read.
of the thing.
Read.
He never with those sacrifices
Animal sacrifice. Read.
which they offer year by year.
When you offer animal sacrifice, that cannot make you perfect. Read.
That's why
Continually make the commerce thereunto perfect.
Read.
For then would they not have ceased to be offered. Because that the worshippers once purged should have had no more conscience of sin.
Read.
But in those sacrifices, there is a remembrance again made of sins every year.
Read.
For it is impossible
Here you go. It is impossible
that the blood of bulls
and
and goats
goats
should take away sin.
That's why we don't commit animal sacrifice. Because the blood of bulls and goats cannot take away sin. 1 John 2 and 1.
let me read this scripture. One scripture.
Hold on, Paul.
One scripture.
Oh, then you want to run. It don't work like that. You don't run nothing up here, brother. You don't keep the commandments.
It says, I do not set aside the grace of God. For righteousness to be gained through the law. Christ died for nothing. So your righteousness. Through the law.
So you telling me to commit adultery? Commit adultery?
No. Commit adultery. Righteousness can come through the law. Christ died for nothing.
You're saying commit adultery.
You don't have.
You're saying commit adultery. You're saying commit adultery.
No, I'm not saying.
Yes, you are.
I never said that.
You said don't do it.
Listen to me. I am what the scripture says.
Do we keep the law or not? Do we keep the law or
I'm
not?
not subject to the law.
Do you keep the law or not?
I'm
Do you keep the law or not?
setting aside the law of righteousness. It says where righteousness could be gained through the law. Christ died for nothing. He died for nothing. He died for something. Just for that one law. So now you're able to take all the laws out of context, pull the one law of dying.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
You heard that? Do you heard that?
Or the prophets. I am not come to destroy,
Christ didn't come to destroy.
but to fulfill.
What did he fulfill?
Fulfill the law, which is why we're not under the law.
Hold on, he fulfilled adultery? Did he fulfill adultery? You said he fulfilled the law. What law did he fulfill? Did he fulfill murder?
The law that you're trying to subject.
Did he fulfill murder?
No. So now let me
So he didn't fulfill the law. So he didn't fulfill the law.
No.
Did he fulfill it or not?
Okay, he fulfilled the entire law.
So he didn't fulfill adultery.
He fulfilled the entire law.
So he fulfilled adultery.
Yes.
So he committed adultery. So he didn't fulfill it, right?
Let me explain.
Let's show you what he fulfilled. Acts 3. We're not here to be taught, we're here to teach. Read that.
Acts 3 verse 1.
Read. Acts 3 and 18.
Acts 3 verse 18. But those things which God before has shown by the mouth of all his prophets.
Listen, what Christ fulfilled was when he was going to come and be murdered as a sacrifice for the nation of Israel.
That Christ should suffer.
That Christ should suffer.
He have so fulfilled.
He had what?
He have so fulfilled.
He did not fulfill adultery. He did not fulfill murder. He did not fulfill thou shalt not covet. He did not fulfill those things. He kept the commandments. Huh? Did Christ sin? So what are you saying? You ain't making no sense. You ain't making no sense.
Come on.
1 John 2:27.
So Christ fulfilled all the laws. You put yourself back under the law, then you subject to the law. So you're subjected to the entire law. So if you don't take upon
What law are you subjected to?
the laws of Israel,
So you're saying don't. So you're saying don't keep the Sabbath. You're saying don't murder, don't steal. That's what you're saying,
you
right?
don't keep the Sabbath.
Huh?
If you don't keep the Sabbath, you go to hell?
Yeah.
No.
You sure?
No. Yeah, I'm 1,000% sure.
Acts 13.
I'm 1,000% sure. Okay, so you want to take the one, you take one law out of context of Christ. You say I don't have to sacrifice animals. But what about the other stuff?
That's what we're trying to explain to you, but you wouldn't listen. Hold on.
He has all of the laws.
Give me the Romans.
Take off one law. Christ came for one law.
Yes.
One law.
The law of sacrifice.
For the one
He
law of sacrifice.
fulfilled the law of sacrifice. Do you know the law of sacrifice at all? Do you know the law of sacrifice? Do you know it?
I read the scripture. Maybe not listen to the scripture.
You got it? Romans 8. Love. Hold on, what love is.
Galatians 2:21. So
Romans 13. No, you gotta go. Don't run. Don't run. Don't run. Romans 13. Don't run. Don't run.
Cares for everybody.
Oh, no man, anything but to love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law.
To be subject to the laws of a white man.
This shall what?
Thou shalt not
subject to the laws of a white man.
What did Paul say? Thou shalt what?
That's the lesson of a man.
commit
No, that's not what
adultery.
it's about.
Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt what?
Thou shalt not
Do you
kill.
agree with that? Do you agree with that? Read.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Thou shalt not bear false witness. Read.
Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet. Read.
And if there be any other
If
commandment,
there be what?
any other
If
commandment,
there be any other commandment, read.
it is briefly comprehended in this
In
saying.
this saying,
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
That you guys
This man is a liar. He does not keep any commandments of the Bible. He is telling you to sin. He is not coming to Christ.
That's right.
John 14 and 15. You don't know God, bro. You out of order. That's out of order, bro. You out of order. You disrespectful. You disrespectful. Read that. John 14:15.
John 14 and verse 15.
Read that.
If you love me, keep my commandments.
How are you, brother? You deal with me. Read that.
If you love me,
If you love God,
keep my commandments.
keep his commandments.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.